Hi, Liberty families. It's Mrs. Imbordino and Mrs. Urban with some information about returning to in-person learning. We are going to be sharing a presentation with you today, and you're going to receive this presentation in an email. When it's your turn to come back to school, we will also be sharing some additional details in lots of emails to you. So this is just a general overview.
So the information we're going to cover today is going to be how to complete the student certification for your student prior to their arrival at school. We're going to talk about what the student arrival procedures are going to be, whether your student is a car rider or a bus rider. We're also going to talk about food and drink procedures for the classroom. There's a few daily materials that are going to be required for your students when they attend in person. And we're going to share what is probably the most important resource at the end, which is just the Plainfield page with parent resources, so you stay up to date with information.
All right, so the self-certification process. This is something that all of the staff members and all of the visitors that come to Liberty are already doing, but the process for students is going to be new. So this needs to be filled out daily for any student that is coming to our school buildings. We are asking that you are completing the self-certify process by 8:30. We're going to go through on the next slides about what it's going to look like when students arrive to the building. But one of the things that we need is we're going to have to print a report that has all the students' self-certification. So having this by 8:30 is really going to help us have the report up to date. So when the students arrive at 8:45, we'll have everything ready to go. There is a link on the page here to the Self-Certify website. We're also going to provide this to you in an email, and you're going to see it on the next slides. There's a couple of different ways that you can access this. You can use a QR code, and we're going to have that on the next slide. You can save the website to your home screen on your cell phone. So we'll talk about how you do that, or you can just complete it online daily using the link.
One of the things that's really important to remember too, not only do we want you to self-certify by 8:30, but you also have to complete that self-certification that day. It cannot be completed the evening before. The system regenerates at midnight, so it would not count if you completed the evening before. So there are three options for completing the self-certification, just like Mrs. Imbordino talked about. One of them is using your cell phone and utilizing that QR code that you see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You're simply going to hold up your phone to that pixelated image, and your phone is going to prompt you to open up a link in which you will do that and complete the self-certification form. And in a minute, I'll show you what that's going to look like exactly once you open that link. You will also have the option to just simply save that link to your phone from the website here or the information in the email. And there are two different options. One is for Samsung and one is for iPhone, but it's essentially creating a shortcut to your home screen on your phone. We'll share a little bit more information on that too as well in the email. Also, you can just simply open your computer, complete the link that will be the link on the previous page. You can just fill out that link and complete the self-certification in that way.
So here are the questions that you'll be answering when you self-certify. So we want you to think of this as really the kid's ticket to coming to school. So really this self-certification, we want you filling this out for students coming to school when you can answer yes to these questions. You're going to see if you're having to answer no to these questions, on the next page, you'll see that there's going to be a red box that comes up and says, do not come to school. For us, if you're going to have to answer no to any of these questions, don't waste your time filling out the self-certify. Simply keep your child home that day. We still ask that you're calling the office to report absences. So if you need to keep your child home, save yourself a step. You don't have to fill out the self-certify. Simply pick up the phone and call our attendance line and let us know that your child is not coming to school that day. The form was created by District 202, so it's going to store your child's information. It will have their student name, their ID number, their home school, the date. All of that is going to be generated for you. When you're filling out the form, you're going to be answering the two questions daily. The first time you fill out the form, there is a part where you'll have to log in. After you've logged in, you won't have to do that again. What you will see though is that if you have multiple children, you'll have to fill out this form for each of your children that are coming to school.
And this is that when you submit your form, this is the screen that you will see that Mrs. Imberdino was talking about. Green means great, they get that ticket to come to school. We'll be so excited to see them when they get here. Yellow means that there was an error with your message, and it'll give you a little bit more information about what that specific error is. And red essentially means that your child has, you've prompted that there are some symptoms and they should not report to school. Again, Mrs. Imberdino shared, please contact the office to report that as an absent. And then if your child has those symptoms for 2 days, we recommend that you consult with your physician regarding that.
Think about our current setup is if students are staying home, they still have access to Google Classroom, they'll have access to those Zoom videos. So it's a little different from in the past when children had to stay home and they maybe didn't get their makeup work until the day that they returned to school. Well, now they're going to have access to all those materials at home. So really, if they're having to stay home that day, they're not missing out from that instruction. When the kids come to school, our student arrival is going to begin at 8:45 this year. So in the past, it was 8:50, but we started school at 9:05. Now we're starting school at 9 o'clock, so that arrival process is going to start at 8:45, so 15 minutes before school. There are going to be lots of staff members helping with this process. So really, there's going to be 3 stations. Mrs. Urban is going to talk through what it's going to look like for the buses, and I'm going to talk through what it's going to look like for the car riders. So Mrs. Urban, do you want to talk about station 1 and the buses?
Sure. So I want you to try to view these stations as everybody is going to attend, kind of stop at the first station, and only if you need to would you continue on. So all students will kind of funnel into this idea of station number 1. Now, this is going to look like us checking to see if your student self-certified for the day. That is our big purpose for our stations. So your student might have a phone on them if they completed the self-certification. You might have printed a hard copy from the website that they did self-certify. And that, Mrs. Imberdino, do you want to, it really looks very similar for our car arrivals too. So simply you would just show your phone if you were in the car, or you would kind of verify as the parent that your student did complete the self-certification form. Okay.
So it looks a little different between the cars and the buses. For the buses, all the students are staying on the bus. A staff member is going to be getting onto the bus and making sure the students have self-certified before they're allowed off the bus. If a student hasn't self-certified, that's where they would move to the next station. For the car line, we're asking for all students to stay in the cars until a staff member approaches your vehicle. When a staff member approaches your vehicle, you will be able to hold up your cell phone or hold up your green ticket showing that your children are ready to come to school that day, and then your child will be permitted to exit the vehicle. If you haven't filled out that self-certify and you're in the car line, you'll be prompted to move forward so that way you can fill out the self-certify. Once we've verified your self-certify, your child will be permitted to leave the car. It gets a little different with our buses and our walkers for that station 2, because we don't always have the parents right there with us. In the car line, we have parents right there with us so we can have you complete that self-certify. So really the next 2 spots are more for our bus riders and our walkers.
So for station 2, if I get on the bus and I see that a student doesn't have some form of proof that they did self-certify, it's not entirely a big deal at all. I will have my laptop or my phone with me, and just like that link that you've completed, it generates a spreadsheet for me. So I'll be able to simply look up your child's name and verify that you have or haven't completed the self-certification. So I don't want you to worry if your child doesn't have a phone or you don't print that form. It is okay. It will literally take no time to simply look at the spreadsheet. So it is okay not to have that on your student. I know many students don't have a phone or a printer at home, so no big deal. I will simply complete that station 2 step on the bus prior to dismissing students. And
really
then,
oh, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Really, that last station then is really our final step. Because again, if a student doesn't have their self-certified that we can verify, Their name is not on our list. We're not denying them from coming to school. That's where Station 3 comes in. The nice thing about Station 3 is we're not holding up the rest of the students from having to wait behind somebody that hasn't completed the process. If we don't have the student that's able to show the green ticket, if we don't have the student that's on our list, we simply move them to a separate line. In that separate line, that's where we'll have a staff member completing that self-certify by asking the student those questions. We will have a temperature check at that time, and a student will be permitted to the school. At that point, though, if we have a student that is not able to self-certify, we will be turning that student over to report to our nurse's office. We actually have an isolation room that is used if we have students that are showing any symptoms of COVID-19 in order to keep all of our students safe in our school. So if a student is not able to pass the self-certified screening process with our staff member, remember, that's only in that Station 3. So if you didn't do it for your child, if we don't have them on our list, they're going to our Station 3. You would be contacted by the school nurse that the student has not met the criteria to come to school that day, and you would have to pick your child up.
And absolutely, it's important to remember too that Station 3, we will also call you prior to. So if you have a child who's unable to answer those questions, or we need to discuss something with you, there will be communication with you prior to, certainly you will be made aware of where we're at with that process and how you can help us through that. All righty, so once our students are here in the building, we do know it's quite a bit of time during their day where they are going to need access to food and water. So we do have some procedures in place for that and what that looks like. So we'll go through that briefly. Students are allowed to bring one water bottle to school with them and one small snack to be eaten in the classroom. It's really important, as much as, you know, we talk about snacks and they can vary. We all know that varies per child. So snacks should just be a small snack just to tidy them over through when they get home and can have lunch. It should take just a couple minutes to enjoy that snack before they can get back to their learning. You will be made aware of if your child is in a classroom where there are allergies related to food items. That will be communicated with you directly, and you will, because the students will be eating that snack in their classroom, be required to send snacks that follow the guidelines relating to those allergies. So that specific information for your child's class will be coming to you specifically. As far as the procedures for snack, it's going to be up to the classroom teacher whether they take a whole classroom snack or whether they eat a snack independently in their workstation or in a separate location. We will be following all safety protocol as far as 6 feet away. All of those procedures will be taking place. Students, of course, are not allowed to share any food with each other. The expectation is that students are washing their hands prior to eating their snack as well as after their snack. Students will be able to remove their face covering briefly to eat their snack, but must immediately put it back on afterwards. And if there is a shared space, that shared space will be disinfected prior and after that snack time. And noted there again is just about the allergies. You will be made aware of those allergies. As far as the water fountain goes, the procedures for that, your child is expected to bring a water bottle because all water fountains are shut off. I know Mrs. Zimberdino shared that in a video that we sent out earlier, but all water fountains are shut off. But one of the great things we have here at Liberty is we do have the water bottle fillers, and those are still turned on. So we do have those available if your child would need a refill of their water bottle. And again, simply, they're going to take their mask off briefly, have a drink, and put their mask back on.
So this is a general overview of things that we definitely know that kids need to bring daily with them. You will also receive some additional information from your child's classroom teacher on if there's additional supplies. So things like that were on the supply list for the students. Each teacher will have information for you because we realize that you are going to have some days that your child is still working at home. So you'll have to have some supplies at home and some supplies at school. So it's not like in the past where all of those supplies are coming to school. They're going to be shared supplies between home and school. Some of the things that we do know that will be coming back every day is having students will need to bring their fully charged laptop computer, the district issued laptop computer. So if you have a child that is using a different device at home, such as an iPad or something that you have purchased for them, that does not come to school. The device that comes to school is the district laptop. If you did not pick up a laptop for your child, please contact the school office and we can get you the details on how to get a laptop for your child. So a fully charged laptop computer, headphones, their charging cord, because we know even if it's fully charged, it might not hold a charge for that full 4 hours that the kids are at school. That's going to come back and forth to school daily. And then again, the teachers are going to provide you with some more information because they might need you to bring things like folders and notebooks and pencils, things like that. They will provide you with that information.
And like I said at the beginning, this link here is probably the most essential link you're going to utilize to get us through as our return to in-person here throughout the year. It's a great link. It has a ton of information. The district is constantly updating this. All resources. There is a parent handbook on that link that has a ton of information. If you're wondering what the processes are regarding exposure, symptoms, all of those things, there's a great tool on that website for you.
The other thing to keep in mind is that as frustrating as it might be, it's frustrating for all of us, the information is always changing. And one of the reasons why it's always changing is the people that give us the information, so the state, the Will County Health Department, different resources where we're getting this information from are always changing their information as well. So we have to keep up to date with the directives from the state and from Will County Health Department, from CDC. So we're updating our information all the time to stay up to date on that. One of the things that we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation is when your child is going to be coming back to school, you will receive lots of emails with us with specific directions for returning to school, specific directives for returning to school. It might change from grade level to grade level because new information has come out. So please be patient with us when we're giving that information to you. That's why we're rolling out information in small groups because the information changes all the time. So as it's getting closer to your child coming back to school, probably within a week or two before your child is scheduled to return, start looking for all those emails coming with additional information. We will also continue to do recordings for the students because we know that the students have a lot of questions. So this one was more geared towards our families, our parents, but we will continue to do additional videos for the students so that the students can prepare as well. At any time, if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. We appreciate you being flexible and patient with us because sometimes when you have reached out, we don't have all the answers just yet. But do know that by the time your students are going to be returning to school, we will have those answers for you and we will follow up with you if we don't have the answers at the time when you reach out to us. So we appreciate all your support and we just cannot wait for the kids to come back.